Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this week. We've got Ryan Woodruff once again. And Ryan, tell us a little bit about yourself, but this time angle it a little more for your military history.
Yeah, so I grew up in central New York, and as far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a Marine. Often asked, like, why did you choose the Marine Corps? The Marine Corps has its reputation, right? We all, from the movies or just from time-honored tradition, we knew, growing up, the Marines just had something about them. At least that's how I was raised, that this is like the branch that the few, the proud,
Yeah.
uh, you got to be a little bit deranged to join the Marine Corps, and I definitely was. Um, it's just what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something that I knew was going to challenge myself mentally, physically to the most extreme ends possible. I was a compartmentalized, isolated, inhibited kid. We bounced around in so many different places, so many different school districts that that never got better for me. So I looked at the Marine Corps as like somehow a way to fill those deficiencies within my life,
Yeah.
find a brotherhood, fight for a common good, common cause,
Mhm.
um, develop confidence, get strong physically. The idea of becoming a warrior really stood out to me. That's like I mean, I remember growing up playing with like little army kids, GI Joes, running around in the woods, getting in trouble with any of the groups I was with, but
Oh, yeah.
it just spoke to my soul, right? Like that's what I wanted to do. I could think of nothing else. And that happened to be the time that I enlisted was right at the height of Operation Iraqi Freedom.
I saw that 2005.
Yep. I knew so like the path I wanted to go down, and I don't even like saying this, but I wanted to be, Marine Corps recon, scout sniper, like any
Yeah.
kid with aspirations in the military, right?
Yeah.
So I chose infantry because I felt like that was going to be my quickest way into that pathway.
Hmm.
Um, didn't end up going that route by choice. I decided that infantry was good enough. This is already a major suck fest and likely was going to be for the next 4 years. So why make it any worse?
Yeah.
So, I stuck it out. I went to boot camp literally like the day I graduated, I was on a flight down to Paris Island. And so, that began this whole new chapter for me. My brother and I went together. That wasn't like
Hmm.
planned. We didn't join the buddy program or anything like that, but we did enlist generally about the same time. He enlisted a little bit later than me, but we ended up in boot camp together in the same platoon, which is a joke, to be honest with you. It's ridiculous. I mean, you guys both serve, so I'm sure you may have seen siblings in boot camp. Maybe not. It's not always super common, but they treated us like dog shit because of it.
I'm curious. Maybe the Army has it and I'm just unaware of it. I mean, there's so much to the Army, it's very easy to not know everything. But so the buddy program, can you enlist with a friend and they keep you guys together?
That's the idea.
Okay.
At least that's what
Maybe.
the recruiters marketed to us at the time.
Well, you can believe everything they say.
Yeah. I mean, I was a dream for the recruiter, right? Like they are like, this kid, he's knocking on the Marine Corps' door saying he wants to join the infantry at a time of, extreme conflict.
Yeah.
You're in.
Yeah. Done.
So
Pulse.
yeah, right. That's right. I got through with boot camp, 13 weeks down at Paris Island from June to September is hotter than hell. Boot camp was easy, not easy. It was not easy, but it was not hard. It
Yeah, I
was
know what you're saying.
move fast, do what you're told. A lot of games. You guys know. I mean,
Oh yeah.
but earning the title of Marine, I thought that like, I was done. Like I
Yeah.
climbed my mountain. Now I'm gonna get treated like the peer, like one of the brothers, and it's so far from the case, right? Still had many more milestones to hit. I went
Uh-huh.
to job school and to be an infantry rifleman. I actually really enjoyed most of the elements of that. You know, learning how to call for fire and patrolling defense week out in the
Yeah.
field, learning different weapon systems. all very basic, but that fundamental stuff never went away. Like it was all very
Yeah.
important. My
Yeah.
entire time in the military and in and out of combat, going to Iraq, like that stuff all made sense. I would often ask, like, I'd look to my left and to my right when we're doing like I'm up, they see me, I'm down drills all the way down these fields, like cover and move drills. Your knees are like bare, and you're like, I'm never gonna do this. I'm never gonna go charge the enemy in an open field,
Hmm.
running 3 to 5 steps and then falling on my face, and then running 3 to 5 steps and falling on my face.
Hmm.
The fact is, though, it develops reflexive skill within you about cover and movement.
Yeah.
And that does stick with you. And it's pretty important when you're getting shot at. And
Yeah.
so, I finished SOI, School of Infantry, and I got dropped to my unit in January of 2006. And within 7 months, deployed to Iraq.
How was that?
Um, a lot to unpack there. I mean, right before that deployment, I don't know how to put this. Our unit was lacking in cohesion for
Yeah.
sure. Team dynamics, being the new guy, well, the senior guys that we got dropped to had just got back from Iraq, and I won't even get into it all, but it was just an absolute mess. The level of power trip some of these guys had was absolutely
Yeah,
ridiculous.
you're a new guy. What do you know? We know
Right.
everything because we've done it. And also you're a boot, so we don't have to
That's
listen to
right.
you. Yeah.
Yep. I was
Yeah.
not jiving with that at all, but it was what it was. We went to 29 Palms, California, and did a month and a half of combined arms training.
Hmm.
And that's like your last stop before you go. And we deployed to Habbaniyah, which is right in between Ramadi and Fallujah. So there's a military security route that connects the three cities, and
Okay.
Habbaniyah is right in the middle of the two. So it's strategically located for Al Qaeda and who we were fighting over there to get in
Yeah.
and out of these cities and these hotspots. And it was also extremely contested space.
Hmm.
The unit we ripped out with was 3-5 Dark Horse. And man, when I got to Iraq my first time, like I mean, I had an idea of, I kind of thought I knew what to expect, but it wasn't real until it was real, right?
Yeah.
I'll never forget the heat. It's Ju
Yeah.
June or July, and I'm like, holy crap, like this is it. Like this is what we're gonna be,
Yeah.
humping gear in and patrolling day in and day out. Um,
Was
we,
it so someone described Kuwait to me, which so I haven't been to Iraq, I've only been to Afghanistan, but I have been to Kuwait, which is
mhm.
on par to my understanding of Iraq. And so someone described Kuwait like they told me how someone described Kuwait to them. So, and I'll say it in a second. Then they said when they got there, that person was 100% right. Then when I got there, that those people were 100% right. And they said, because we got there in July, it was like July, what was it, like first or second, I think, because we were there for the fourth, and then I think we left on the fifth or sixth. But anyway,
Yep.
yeah, so it was July, Kuwait, 119 degrees. And they said it was like someone was hitting you in the face with a hairdryer, like blasting you in the face with a hairdryer and throwing sand in your face. And it just sounded so like such hyperbole that you think like that sounds ridiculous. I'm sure people that haven't experienced it listening to this are like, that sounds like complete hyperbole, no way. And yet we get off the plane and I walk onto the tarmac, and my whole time in Kuwait, that part of it, that was exactly what it was like. And the only time
Yeah.
it wasn't like that was in March, it was like in the 70s. It was like incredible. But yeah,
That
July in that temperature. Would you agree with that?
a
That's a
hundred
fair
percent.
assessment.
I
Yeah.
think you're onto something. That's a great immersion experience that we should offer, right?
It is, yeah. Blast
Just
people in the face
everybody
with a
close your
hairdryer.
eyes and
Yeah.
picture this
Yeah.
immense heat like you're on another planet and then just whip sand at their face and
Yeah,
say, welcome to
absolutely.
Kuwait.
And I don't know if they grate sand, but coarse for
That's
sure.
right. Yeah. Yeah, we had to acclimate, try to get adjust to the temperature for a couple weeks before we actually got to our area of
I'm sure.
operations. And I mean, I don't, I could not stand Kuwait. Both there on the way in, on the way out, both times I went to Iraq, it's just you're in a holding pattern. And one end, you're like waiting to go do your job, and on the other end, you're trying to get home. And both of which are like anxiety inducing, just trying to
Oh
get
yeah.
moving. PT out there sucks. And
Oh, they had you
I
do
mean,
PT.
yeah, when there's nothing to do in the Marine Corps, that's what you do, right? And it's not, I don't, that's just what happens, right? If there's
Yeah.
standby time, you can guarantee you're PTing or cleaning weapons. Um, that's just how it went.
Yeah.
But we got to our AO and we rolled out on tracks, which is unique. It's actually the only time in Iraq that the first deployment that we used these tracks, light armor vehicles, and it felt like it felt like a movie, right? You're getting in these tracks. It all reminded me of stuff we did in CAX, combined arms exercise, 29 Palms, and you're rolling out into the city and the smell was terrible. I mean, it smelled like straight sewage. I knew exactly like it became known to me like when we crossed the wire, when we left the wire of Camp Habbaniyah and entered the city because the smell was overwhelming. Just as
Yeah.
like raw sewage, right? And very hot. We're getting up to our where we're going to be. We didn't stay in Camp Habbaniyah. So the way this worked was there were observation posts set up all along this military security route, which were within the city, and they were just houses that were taken over by coalition forces, loaded up with sandbags, post, and they were little patrol bases all over the place.
Mhm.
And we occupied multiple patrol bases, but the first one we went to was OP Bears. We got there in the middle of the night, unloaded out of these tracks. I'm thinking like as soon as this track door opens, we're gonna start getting shot at. Like these guys are waiting for us. Far from the case. They were just not, we were new guys on the block, and they were just observing, essentially just watching our movements, seeing what we did, looking at our patrol schedules, looking at our post schedules. But I get into this OP. It's the OP, the observation post was built to hold about a squad, so 12, 13 guys with a corpsman. And these dudes look ragged. Like they're, boots and utes. Half of them were sleeping with their boots on because they're on QRF waiting to go if called up. A couple of guys on post, and they just look like they had the shit kicked out of them for the last 7 months, right?
Yeah.
Like this is encouraging. It's probably, we're all, cleaned up, clean camis, boots,
Uh-huh.
eye pro glasses, MVGs, like
Yeah.
looking all what we thought was high speed. And we ripped out with these guys. It wasn't much to it. I mean, I wasn't in a leadership position in that moment, but we immediately took over the post, started to just observe. And I'll tell you, I've never been so vigilant as like that first week, right?
Yeah.
Like you're looking out the bulletproof glass on top of the roof and you're just like scanning for targets the whole time,
Yeah, that's how I
thinking
was.
it's going to
It,
happen any moment. You got your
yeah.
thermals out. You're like, someone's going to pop their head and I got to be ready to call down and blah, 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 blah. But pretty uneventful for the first couple weeks, to be honest with you. I'm like, wow, this is so, we'd hold post 24/7. And, that could be 6 hours standing post, plus a couple hours off and then patrolling. So we would do patrol operations within the city.
Mhm.
So there are always guys on post watching these MSR because the MSR was getting IED'd all the time.
Yep. Yep.
Um, Sniper fire, ambushes. We would patrol through this city, meet with the locals, talk to them about why we're there. We had an interpreter, never knew if they were telling the truth or not, and just kind of have casual conversations about, what kind of enemy activity is in the area, what kind of movement is there, build some rapport and trust with the local population, which there was really none, to be honest with you. They never really got around to being super comfortable and telling the truth, I'm pretty sure, because their lives were at stake if they did. But within about, I'd say a month, things picked up pretty quick.
Yeah.
IEDs started blowing up. Convoys are getting hit. Sniper fire, small arms fire, started losing guys. Um, that full deployment, we lost 14 guys.
Damn.
And, a lot of it was IEDs, sniper fire, guys getting picked off on post, right? You never think, like standing post behind bulletproof glass, that anything's going to happen.
Mhm.
Does. And, I mean, I'm sure you guys know it's just, it's tough. And the reality of it doesn't set in while you're there. I'll tell you that. And, it's not, I'll tell you, it didn't set in for me until years later. Um, but we get through this deployment. A lot of contact, a lot of friction. It was unreal. Come home and just, you know, live like Vikings for a couple months, right?
Mhm.
Just out partying,
Yep.
drinking, trying
Growing the
to,
beards.
yeah, just like forget and not think about, the fact that you're going to be back in training, working up for your next deployment. And essentially, that's what we did. We trained for another 7 months and deployed again to Iraq. And it was at that time I was like, I'm not doing this for 20, 25 years. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get out. I'm surprised I'm still alive here. Very lucky to have made it back because a lot of us didn't. And so, that was what kind of brought me to the closing of my 4-year term and then getting out into the civilian world.
So when you went to transition out, had you been exposed to, had you looked into any kind of what you should be doing? I'm sure they pushed medical on you guys. And maybe they didn't. Correct me if I'm wrong. But then, or did you kind of just end up out, not really sure? Because some people we've interviewed, like Mike Durant's a good example. He sailed, I'm sure there were complications, but f to a degree, good degree, he sailed into civilian life. Whereas obviously it's not the norm, but I mean, he also was the 160th, so he's kind of a different breed. But yeah, and then some people, they got out and had no idea what they were going to do, and were fortunate to find something. I mean, clearly you're in a great place now. So what did that path look like for you?
After I came home from my second deployment, I had an opportunity to go home and take the state police exam.
Hmm.
And I thought for sure, like 100%, as an infantry rifleman, the only thing that's going to work out for me in the outside world is law enforcement. And I was wrong. I mean, I got out of the military, and the local and state police were not hiring for one.
Oh, interesting.
And I went to school for criminal justice at a local community college. Very fortunate to have like an incredible veteran service office there.
Hmm.
And those guys, they helped me with a lot. I mean, everything.
Do you want to shout out that college?
Yeah, Onondaga Community College.
Okay.
I would say of all the colleges I've ever been to, and I've been to a lot in New York State, you know, only two in my own journey, but probably the best one, hands
Okay.
down in terms of veteran support.
Okay.
Incredible. So they helped me out, just kind of gave me a roadmap of some things I should be focused on. Things like you're entitled to unemployment while you go to school. Here's how you file your claims for the GI Bill. You're entitled to post 9/11 and Montgomery GI. And they helped work me through all this stuff that I didn't know and otherwise I probably would have been paying for. And
Yeah.
so saved me a lot on that end. Um, on the mental health side of things and
Hmm.
the lifestyle choices I was making, I wasn't seeking help there.
Yeah.
Um, the VA wasn't something to me, like we were always programmed that, to stay away from that kind of stuff and not
Hmm.
talk to the doc. And I candidly, like I thought I was going in law enforcement. So um, talking to the docs at the VA was to me like a way to get myself in trouble and not get a meaningful career in that field.
Yeah.
Well, after getting so I'll say I struggled with alcohol in a big way. Didn't think I was struggling. I was functional. I was going to school full time. I was getting good grades, but I was drinking every night to a point that I was blacking out. Um, After a couple of years of getting nothing back from the state police, I was just like, okay, it's just not going to happen, right? So I filed claims for disability and went through that process, and I don't know. I think I had an initial rating of like 40% when I got out of the military, which, today is like, it's very common that like every veteran's coming out of the military with 70 plus percent disability ratings, some with combat experience, some that have never been deployed out of the country.
Right.
And it's fine. Like I'm not, there's no scale. It's all relative. I get it, for sure. But I felt like, honestly, I felt like I didn't deserve it. Um, and I see now that it's actually like a rarity to see veterans come home that actually deployed in a time of conflict. And, we're seeing a lot of peacetime stuff now. But all that to say, like, looking back, I knew that there were some dark things within me that I wasn't getting grounded in, or I wasn't figuring out, wasn't finding a healing path to. So alcohol was my way of coping. Um, Ended up, smoking marijuana too. I'm not condemning it by any means. I'm not even condemning alcohol. I just know for me, it was like not right.
Yeah.
Um, After completing my degree and, not finding a job in the field that I was looking for, I ended up going to school for forestry. And lo and behold, the state police called me right after I
Oh,
went up to the Adirondacks for forestry school. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. So I go and I take a PT test and did really well. Um, and I did an integrity test. An integrity test, you sit around with an investigator. And he's like, have you ever smoked marijuana? I'm like, yeah, I smoked marijuana. I like no more than 5 times since I left the Marine Corps, which is probably a lie, but at least I didn't completely lie. And he's like, you're
yeah.
done. You're done. He's like, you're not eligible. I was like, you gotta be okay. All right. So that ship sailed.
Damn. That's that
And it did
damned if you do,
suck.
damned if you don't. I mean,
Yeah, for
how
sure. I
many
mean,
people lied or they're on the force versus,
for sure.
you tell the truth. It's like I can not smoke weed if it's what my job required, but I wouldn't employ it in any way that,
Yeah.
was really a problem. So,
It's 5 years later, and never expected to get a call back. And I was starting to really question what the hell was I supposed to be doing. I was just
yeah.
wandering. I'm going to school for tree identification, forestry, and I'm like, and the only reason I picked that was because I like the outdoors. I like being in the woods.
Yeah.
Wasn't like a hunting enthusiast or anything like that, but that was what was next for me.
Hmm.
Um, I got a job, became an arborist, and did that for about 6 years, climbing trees with chainsaws and, traveling. And it's good work, hard work, like real blue collar work, working with small teams and stressful. I'll say it was dangerous for sure.
Yeah.
Continued to just already like break myself even more than the military already did.
Yeah. I have no doubt.
And so, um, yeah, man, I did that for a long time, wasn't finding meaning or purpose. And one day out of the blue, I get a call from a friend of mine who I actually went to college with, and he served in the Marine Corps too, different unit than mine, and he was working at Clear Path for Veterans. And he said, like, hey, I'm not sure what you're doing these days. We're looking for a combat vet to help other veterans transition from their military to civilian community. And is that something you'd be interested in? You'd cover 7 counties in the southern tier. You drive around, connect with vets, and get them connected to programs and services, and just help them get back on their feet. And I was like, F it. Yeah, let's do this. Like, I'm done dragging brush and, climbing. And it's a great job. I'm not like, it's a great job. And I would recommend
Yeah.
anybody coming out of the military, if you're interested in arboriculture, you should pursue it. It's incredible. However, for me, I was just not finding what I was looking for. And so I got this job at ClearPath. And yeah, man, the rest is, it's the rest of that story for me, it was all about healing.
Yeah.
Being in this line of work was healing in and of itself, because I would look in the mirror every day and be like, you need to get your shit together. You're out there trying to help these guys and you don't have your stuff together. So who are you to be a coach for other veterans when you're sitting here struggling with alcohol and depression?
It's a powerful motivator.
Big time. So I started to really actively work towards that through, I went through the canine program as a
Okay.
recipient. And that just opened up my eyes to so many different things. Several years later, many other parts of the story, which I won't bore you with, but quit drinking completely cold turkey in 2017. Got connected to a broader community, found my faith, and found community outside of the walls of Clear Path. Um, really started to focus on elevating some of the programs and services at ClearPath. And so, like, dude, it really was just being part of the ecosystem for veteran support was one of the most healing aspects of that journey for me.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, One question I had just out of curiosity, which is way back at the beginning, what had you guys moving around in your childhood?
Oh, nothing in particular. I was raised by a single mother,
Okay.
and she was trying to find meaningful work. And
Okay.
so I grew up I started in central New York, ended up in Virginia Beach, bounced around down there, North Carolina, Long Island, back to New
Mm.
York, and nothing in particular. It's just how it was, I
Yeah.
guess.
No, I was just curious if like a lot of people move around because they're in the military. I figured you would have said that, but like my boss at work, his dad was a football coach, high school football coach. And so
Hmm.
he actually moved around a lot, kind of like military people would, because his dad would go to where the work was. So
Yeah,
yeah, I was
right.
just curious about that. Get into soft skills. What were, you did a lot in the military, and then I would say, I'm sure you picked up other soft skills with the job like the forestry. So what were some soft skills from the military and then on that you kind of carried through to where you're at now?
Undying loyalty. I mean, I I have this blind obedience attribute, right? Where I don't ask questions. If you tell me to do something and you're a superior of mine, I'm pretty much just going to do it without, you know, trying to interpret why I'm
Mhm.
doing this. So that served
It's
me
good you're the
really
boss
well.
now. It's good you're the
Yeah,
boss now because
it's good and it's bad because I don't get that reciprocation.
no.
But it's fine, right? Like, I've learned a lot, just about grace and all that. But from the military mindset, I think I had on my resume at one point, I could disassemble and reassemble a squad automatic weapon in 43 seconds. And I remember like somebody reviewing my resume, like, I don't know what this means. Like, well, it's probably not even relevant to this, but just attention to detail, like you mentioned it before, that was a big part of it. Attention to detail, being adaptable, back planning, understanding. Like I found myself in so many complex problems,
Mhm.
especially within the tree care industry or anything that involves every service industry you're in involves pretty much fixing somebody's problems, right?
Yeah.
And in the military, we face a lot of them, and
Oh
you
yeah.
work with little to no resources to fix them.
Yep.
And so, being resourceful, bootstrapping, um, having an attitude that's not like, well, we don't have this tool or this level of financing to figure this out. It's like, no, man, just roll up your sleeves and let's do it.
Mhm.
Has always stuck with me, just to never shy away from a challenge.
Yeah.
I think combat and it can be detrimental too, right? Like, there's a strange addiction I have to productivity and work that's probably not healthy, right? Like,
Hmm.
just to keep going after it. And, when that military mindset is not something easily forgotten. It sticks with you, I think, for your whole life, which can be helpful. But when you're trying to raise a family, be intentional with your children, be present with your wife, be part of your community, slow down. Sometimes you got to like put on a different hat. And
Yeah.
that's something that I learned. And it took me a long time. It took me like over a decade to figure that part out. Well over a decade. Marriage
Yeah.
taught me a lot, but just being with other people, particularly, like connecting with an older demographic.
Hmm.
There's people that have been around, right? And there's a lot of life lessons you can learn from sitting down and having coffee with an old guy. I did that
Yeah.
for like 6 years, and I was part of a small group, but I go out and grab coffee with some of these guys, and they would share life lessons. And I valued that greatly, just to, somebody that could say, here I am, I'm 75, 80 years old, and one of my biggest regrets is I didn't spend enough time with my kids, or I let work completely envelop me.
Hmm.
Um, so it makes you take like a second look. at what's in front of you to be a little bit more present.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because my grandfather, who's passed now several years ago, oh, 8, I guess. But he was super involved in mine and cousins and my brother's lives because he felt like he was such an absent father. He was working, he constantly had projects, things, and so he looked at grandkids as a way to not make up for it because you can't make up for something, which I don't know if or how much his sons held it against him, but it was a way for him to learn from it and then do differently when he had a chance, which was all his grandkids.
Yeah.
And then, and that's one thing. He was a really wise guy, you know, very very intelligent, and that was one of the big things I took from him was like, so I'm very interactive with my kids now, and I prioritize them very high on my list, and they basically just trade with work to, because I have to have a job to support them,
Yeah.
so they just kind of trade places with work here and there. Usually they're the top, and that was
Yeah.
one thing I took away. But luckily, that's it's a story I learned before the military. But for me, one of the things I probably had this already, but I really learned it. I remember in basic training, and sometimes it serves me, and sometimes it's a disservice, is my ability to just tone everything out.
Hmm.
You got drill sergeants yelling at you, and I'm focused. And the name of the game is complete the task. It doesn't matter what they're saying or what else is happening. They told you to do X, whatever it is. And so very quickly in basic training, I got very good at just focusing on what I was doing and just completely ignoring my whole surrounding, which is so weird because I'm very observant, surrounding oriented. But then that with kids, it's like, you're with your kid, they're crying in the car or screaming just because they're pissed about something. And so it's like I can just drive for a long
Yeah.
time. But then sometimes now, I got an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they're doing a noise. I'm tuning them out. Next thing I know, they're like, Dad. And I'm like, oh, you were
Yeah.
you changed your from your random noises to actually trying to address me. Sorry about that. So yeah,
I hear that. I do the same thing, and I'm reminded that I do it often. Um,
yeah, I'm reminded as well.
yeah. Yeah, man, self-discipline too. Big trait that I took away from the military that I feel I harness more now than ever on different things that are just important to me. Fitness is very important to me these days. I don't, that's not something I ever left me after leaving the Marine Corps.
That's
Uh,
good.
Movement has been just so good for my stress relief, just to be able to exhaust myself physically so that the stresses of the day don't become bigger than they actually are, you
Yeah.
know? Um, just
Do you
helps
like
me.
you a morning workout guy then? Like, is it a good way to start your day?
Yeah, yeah. Typically, I mean, I'm doing a couple different things. Working out in the morning at the gym, and then some evenings, I started boxing a couple of years ago. That's been
Okay.
pretty helpful as well.
Yeah.
I just in it's a I feel like if I sit in front of a computer so often, right, or
Yeah.
emailing or on the
Yeah.
phone, and it drives me nuts. Like if I do that for a week and don't move, I'm a total different animal, right? I don't like myself.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
gotta move, gotta move.
Absolutely. Jumping back to GI Bill. So when you went to the college, so we did a episode on GI Bill, and it occurred to us that you just can't comprehensively cover it, even if we did like a 7 episode thing. So now what I kind of try to do is kind of pick bits of information out of people that have interacted with it. Like we did a hard hats to veterans interview, and that's when I found out GI Bill could be used on trade school. Pretty
Hmm.
important piece of information. So, do you have any tips? It sounds like you mentioned the college was very involved in making sure you were aware of what benefits to take advantage of, but do you have any tips to throw out or things you learned?
There's a lot more available these days than there was, and not to say that I had it bad. I had it pretty damn good. I had
Yeah.
the Montgomery 31, whatever Montgomery GI Bill that was predated the newer post 9/11 deal, but I was able to use all of my Montgomery GI Bill and then extend for a year under post 9/11, which was
Hmm.
helpful because
Yeah.
that time I got my 2-year degree in criminal justice set me back a little bit on getting my bachelor's in natural resources. And
Okay.
so getting that 1-year extension took me to the finish line. I'm sure that still, I don't know how it works now. We
Yeah.
have people on our staff that know this stuff like the back of their hand.
Oh, I'd love to
I,
have them on if they're
yeah,
willing.
100% to connect with an expert or, having a good veteran service office in your college is gold. Um, just to connect with them and talk about where you're at, what you're trying to do. Because yeah, there's the GI Bill, there's vocational rehabilitation, which is separate, right? That's more
Yeah.
of you have a disability, you're trying to get into a career field, and the only way to do it is to obtain certain vocational training. They do all kinds of different stuff. I mean, I remember when I was going through dog training, because I went to dog training school as well. Once I
Hmm.
really got into my craft at ClearPath, voc rehab was an option for me because I'd already used all my GI Bill benefits. So I was looking for additional training and certification, and I was able to connect with a counselor to, get certified to get approved for voc rehab.
Awesome. Awesome. Um, so if you could go back in time, if Doc Brown rolled up and you go back in time to the day you joined, what is some advice you would give yourself about your military career and the transition out?
Yeah, I think what I talked about before I joined about being like that inhibited kid, right? That lack of
Hmm.
confidence. I don't think the military really, I think it helped in part, but I don't think my military experience is what helped me become more confident and uh, less like I was when I was a kid. I don't think it solved a lot of the root issues that I was dealing with
Okay.
growing up, right? And alcohol fixed that for me pretty quickly. In the military too, right? Like alcohol was my way to take myself outside of who that kid was and be something different.
Fascinating.
And it's been, the military made it worse for sure. And I honestly, I would have probably helped steer myself away from that a little bit more, look at doing something a little bit different. Um, I can't change the circumstances. Like I'm
Right.
grateful for all that I went through. I wouldn't change anything about who I served with or what I did. I wouldn't, I said about going to recon and all that. I'm glad I didn't. Kind of the grunt life was for me. I'm glad I did it. Um,
Yeah.
there was a part of my transition where I wish I stayed in. There are times
Hmm.
today where I'm like, man, I miss that. Like
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever going to go away, but it's all temporal, right? Like that's not an eternal thing. It's got to end
Right.
for you at some point.
Yeah.
Had I stayed in, I would be retiring like right about now, which is just crazy to think about.
Yeah. What are some of the things that you miss?
Yeah, I missed the job. Our mission was to locate, close with, and destroy the enemy. How cool is that?
It's cool and it's
Combat,
simple, right? Like
it's,
your line for success is like, are you alive?
yeah,
Are they dead or neutralized for, stopped, whatever it is? Did you prevent an ambush? Yes. Okay, well, you did your job today.
the simplicity of it. You're exactly right. Not simple as in it's easy, but simplicity as in like, I know exactly what I'm getting after today.
Yeah.
Expecting the unexpected, but the stuff I do now, I'm grateful. I'm honored to be the CEO of this organization, but it's counter to how I'm hardwired to, right? Like
Yeah.
I am having to force myself to sit at computers and just have meetings about things, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just would rather go out on the streets and help a homeless veteran right now, right?
Yeah.
Which I can do at any point in time. But there's a lot that I need to do to shepherd this organization in the right direction, which I am grateful for. But I like to do the work. I like to be tactical. Um, yeah, yeah. Does that help that answered your question?
No, it does. Yeah. Yeah, because I remember one thing I liked about being in Afghanistan was Like if I didn't have a wife and kids back home and there was an option to stay, I would have just signed on to stay
Yeah.
without hesitation. You're right. It's not that it's easy, but it's simple. It's like that measure of success. Like because we were route clearance, so looking for the IEDs that you guys were seeing, and it's like yeah, there's a lot to it. And granted, a lot of it becomes routine. We worked very hard to not be complacent, but we were very routine, and that kind of helped us kind of fight the complacency. But yeah, it was like, are we planning a mission? Are we rehearsing for a mission? Or are we doing a mission?
Yeah.
And whichever the answer was, I knew exactly especially after 9 months, I knew exactly what I was supposed to be doing. And
There
then,
were
yeah, it was funny because, oh, go ahead.
100%. I mean, this to go even further like, there were little moments. How much more grateful were you for little things when you're in
Oh,
Afghanistan?
huge. And you lose a lot of good things like that. And that was one of a couple things I refused to let go of
Yeah.
when to now. We got back in 2020, so it's 6 years ago now. And that's one of a couple things that I'm like, I couple that with it could be worse. And I used to always hear that before deployment, and I thought like, yeah, just such like a cliche chicken shit thing to say. But then when things are bad, and then you think, God, this is the fucking worst, and
Yeah.
then they get worse, and you're like, oh no, that was a vacation 5 minutes ago. Like,
Right.
no, and it doesn't, it could be chaos of war, it could just be stupid soldier shit.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it can be worse. Absolutely. And I remember I got a flat tire within a year of being home, and it was like, 50 degrees out, so semi-cold. And I just remember thinking like, it's not snowing. It's not
Yeah.
30, it's not 20. Like, well, this could be so much worse than it is. I'm in town,
Yeah.
I'm not in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, but
Yeah.
the seeing the beauty and the little things is so important.
Yeah,
And
man. I remember sitting on a rooftop looking at the sky and just being enamored by all the stars. Sitting with a best friend of mine, in Iraq. Both of us running on like zero sleep, right, for a couple
yeah,
days because of the mission we were on, and he had a can of stateside Grizzly Straight dip, and I was like, it was the best thing in the world. I don't know, I'll never forget that though. Like I could have died
yeah,
right there and been like okay with it. And something like that today, right? Like
yeah.
I got to tell you, you've been out for 5 years, 6 years, right?
Oh, so I'm still in the reserve even,
Still
but
in
yeah,
the you get out into the civilian world and you cannot stop the conditioning that happens. I mean,
no,
I'm soft now. I hate it,
yeah.
right? I'm no longer the guy I was, and it is what it is. It's a new life, but life just has gotten way too convenient and easy.
Well, yeah, I agree. And I think that stemmed a lot of our society problems, I think, are from so many things being easy. Like when I watched 1883, the
Yeah,
show, it's like you're seeing people in covered wagons
yeah,
fight for their lives. They don't even know where the next meal's coming from half the time. So then I started like looking around day to day, and I'd be like, that person would totally not make it. And the person complaining about whatever it is asinine thing they're complaining about, and I think like there's no way. But yeah, it's like, and then I heard an interesting thing. Listen to Chase Hughes on Sean Ryan. He's talking about this pyramid of human needs, and it starts at the bottom. And as each level is taken care of, you instinctively worry about the next one, and emotion is at the top. And it's so easy here. And I think about this quote a lot. It's gonna seem silly, but in The Dark Knight Rises, when Batman sees Bane, first two things he says to him are um, uh, well, the second thing is victory has defeated you. But then he said, oh, I'm trying to remember the first thing he says now is, but it's along the same lines of like, oh, peace has cost you your strength, victory has defeated you. And that
hmm
like really hits home with me. And I mean, that's
yeah,
why. the reserves isn't overly demanding as far as physical fitness, but so I try to be fit for my kids. And we had Pat McNamara on. He talks about the four reasons to be fit is stronger, longer, and longevity of your body when you get old. And then second thing is save your own life. People that can't do a pull up if they fall over something, and it's either fall down there or pull yourself up. Can they do it and then save someone else's life? I think about my kids, my wife, friends, coworkers, random people on the road. And of course, the
Yeah.
fourth thing is kicking someone's ass. But yeah, that's what I try to think about and train for because I'm like, yeah, you get soft. I mean, I could work out every day in Afghanistan in the simplicity of everything of the life I was living, and then to be here and like, well, I'm not gonna have time to work out today, and however the story goes, and
Yep.
that's a big one I think about that you said.
Yeah. 100%. You take for granted being told what to do, even, right? Like
Yeah,
having a plan for your day, when to be in formation, what time to be up, that you are going to PT, whether you like it or not, or how hungover you actually are, you're still going
yeah.
to run this.
Yeah, it's
Um,
true. In base training, there's always time for PT.
that's right.
Yeah. What's a funny story you've got from your time?
Oh,
I'm
there's
sure you
a
have a lot.
lot that are
Maybe one.
probably it's good for this.
Well, we are explicit because we can't
Yeah.
we can't be not explicit. So we are explicit. Uh,
Um,
One guy talked about being a cop and talked about a guy having a strap on that they were arresting
nice.
in a mall. So just he set
Okay.
the bar there. You can either
That's
choose to push the bar further, which we're totally open with, or you can stay under it, however you like.
let me think here. Funniest story. Um, I did end up falling into a human cesspool in Iraq. I don't think it's funny. I think it's more like horrible, right? Like,
Can we think it's funny?
well, I can laugh at it now, right? And there are other people. I mean, I would say even at the time, um, as much of a shame culture as the military is, like
Yeah,
some of the
yeah,
guys that
yeah.
were like that, dude, that sucks. No way around that. But we were on a patrol and we had a certain mission to, we were looking for this high value target. I'll never forget this guy's name. And I was a point man and it was night and it was already difficult as I had, the 14
BBS
Bravos.
14s. Okay.
Yeah. One eye thing. And, just it's wasn't great. It was fine. But, um, there was a thin layer of dust over this, it looked like the ground, right? And
Hmm.
I didn't walk right into it. I ran into it because I saw a guy, military age male, who wasn't supposed to be where he was. And I
Yeah.
started to run I was like, hey, I'm going after this guy. And I just ran right into it and ended up like up to my chest. And I mean,
Oh,
it was black.
yeah.
And, I had to like use my muzzle on the dirt outside to like pull myself out of this pit. And, actually, that night was that was I got in my first firefight that night in shit, covered in shit. Um,
So no one would have
Crazy.
noticed if you shit yourself.
Oh, it
Nobody
was
would have even
terrible.
known.
I mean, it'd be pretty bad if that all came from me because, I looked like like my camis just changed colors completely. Another
Just
one,
well,
but before I deployed, I was on pre-deployment leave
hmm
and,
Just first or second deployment.
first deployment.
Okay.
So I was 18. I was 18, maybe just turned 19, right? Like, so it was right
Okay.
before I deployed. And I was drinking and, obviously underage. And I was out in public and, I was on a bridge over a railroad and it was like a metal grate bridge. And, cop rolled up on us and like turned his lights on, I was screwed, right? Like there's nowhere to go. Like I was stuck on this bridge kind of thing.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting here like I'm screwed. Like I'm gonna get thrown in the brig for this. I'm gonna get NJP'd right before I deploy. Like this is the worst thing possible.
Yeah.
The cop comes up the bridge and he's asking me all these questions. I'm like, I pulled the card. I'm like, I'm literally on pre-deployment leave, about to go to Iraq in like a couple weeks here. And he take my ID, sees I'm underage. He's like, dump the beer. So I start dumping the beer,
Yeah.
and I just hear, what the fuck? And like there was a cop right below me, and I'm just dumping beer on his head. And I'm sitting here like this couldn't get any worse. So I proceeded to get lectured, but they let me go. I was grateful for that.
Yeah. Oh
But yeah,
man.
I mean, there's a lot of stupid stuff happens when drinking is involved, and there's certainly a lot more while I was in the military for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Um, well, hey, this has been awesome. I don't have any other questions. I think we've covered some great stuff, put some great stuff out there. Really appreciate you coming on, staying up late with us. So, unless you have any other nuggets of knowledge or JDAMs of information, then we can cut out.
No, man, I appreciate it. Nice to meet you both. Thank you for doing what you're doing. I think it's cool that you got a show like this, and I hope it's having an impact. I'm sure it is.
Hey, likewise. Yeah, and Nick will get with you about getting some connection stuff on our website because obviously we want our website to kind of be conduit as well of, if someone stumbles upon us, however they might, that they can find programs like yours. So,
Awesome.
all
Cool.
right. Well, Ryan, thanks for coming on, and everyone else, we'll talk to you later. We thank you for listening, and we hope you got something helpful out of this content.
If you're looking for more, be sure to check out our resources tab on our website.
Unbroken-veterans.com.
And if you're looking for ways to connect, be sure to reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn.
Until next time, remember to check your zeros, fives, tens, and 25s.